vegetable seeds can you plant in September? You'll be surprised to know there are quite a few, and in this video I'm going to show you a number of seeds that I'll be planting over the next week or so, ready to give me a harvest in later autumn and in winter. So if you do like the video, don't forget to give it the thumbs up, and if you want to subscribe to the channel for future videos, don't forget to press the subscribe button. As you can see just behind me, I've been rummaging through my seeds and I've picked one or two out that might be suggestions that you might want to sow as well. Some of them will be inside here, inside my polyhouse. Some of them I might sow directly outside. But of course the climate's important, and for the purpose of the video, just to make you aware that if you look at American climate zones, I'm in the middle of the UK, which is the equivalent of zone 8A, so you may need to adjust your sowing and growing based upon whatever your climate is, and also looking at the back of your seed packets to see what the suggested optimum planting and growing time is for your vegetables. I think an obvious one to start with is Radish. This is a variety I use called Scarlet Globe. I'm not too sure what's happened to the packet. I think a bit of moisture might have got to it, but the seeds are perfectly good inside. The back of the packet says that you can sow these till September, but if you're going to sow them outside and the climate and the weather's okay, you can put them in later. And of course, if you've got a greenhouse, a polytunnel or a polyhouse, you can pretty much grow them all through the winter. So radish are a quick and easy crop to grow, 3 to 4 weeks between planting and harvesting. So a good, quick, easy crop that in September you can plant. Cauliflowers are also good to sow in September. This is a popular variety in the UK. It's called all the year round cauliflower. And these can be planted straight out, so you can put the seeds straight into the ground outside. I'm going to plant these in pods in the polyhouse, and when they're big enough I will put them outside. So if you are going to plant them straight outside, just make sure at this time of year you give them a level of protection, some netting, because just for those late butterflies. So cauliflower is another good vegetable to plant in September. If you're looking for a good supply of winter greens, then you won't go far wrong by planting spinach, and spinach is good to sow in September. This here is a variety called Samish F1. This can go straight into the ground in September, and again, as with what I've already talked about for cauliflowers, I'm going to start them inside and then plant them outside, and that'll give you some nice tender green leaves for your salads over the autumn and winter period. Of course, lettuce is a good crop to grow also in September. This year, for the first time, I've grown this variety of lettuce called Lakeland, and I have to say it is really, really good lettuce. If you've never tried this variety of lettuce, give this a go. Nice, crunchy, fresh leaves, absolutely beautiful. So I'll be putting another sowing of this in today, but I am going to start this in the polyhouse, and because I have room in the polyhouse, when I transplant, I will transplant inside. You could, depending upon temperature and climate, try these outside, and if you get the right circumstances, you're likely to get a good crop of lettuce. But for me, just to be on the safe side, I'm going to plant mine in the ground inside the polyhouse. So Lakeland lettuce is definitely one to try. Of course, there are plenty of other lettuce varieties that you can plant at this time of year. Little Gem is one that I've also grown. I've got some of these still outside, still be harvesting them over the next week or two. Allotment here colleague Andy has given me some seeds for something called Winter Gem, which I'll also be planting today as well. It's good over the autumn and the winter period to have a good supply of greens, so I will put a few different varieties of lettuce in. But as I've already said, the dominant variety for me is going to be Lakeland. I've done really well this year with spring onions, and they're another crop that you can sow in September. My favourite this year has been a variety of spring onions called Ramrod, and they're from Mr. Fothergill's. I'm sure you can get them elsewhere. But I've also grown white Lisbon, which seems to be the staple for a lot of vegetable growers. But I will be putting another sowing of these in over the next week or two, and they'll be perfectly okay once they've grown outside as well. You could also in September, and I'd probably suggest maybe later September, put an early sowing of broad beans. These are a variety called Bunyard Exhibition. These are the only ones I grow because they're just such a good variety. I'm probably going to wait until mid-October to late October to sow them myself, but you can, if you want to, get an early start on your broad beans, and they can go in the ground in September. Now the next suggestion is something that I'm going to be experimenting with. For the first time, I'm going to try starting Swedes in the polyhouse in September, so I'm going to put a sowing of these in over the next day or two. Now the reason for that is, firstly, you'll note from the last video on the channel that I've been so successful this year with my Swede that the variety I've used, which is a variety called Helenor, I've got some spare seeds from the packet which I'm going to put in, see if I can get a later sowing. As you can see from the ones I've got outside, I've got plenty here to keep me going over the next month or two. So what I'm going to do is start the seeds in the polyhouse, and I'm going to put a few of them in the ground in the polyhouse and see how they get on. So if you want to see how they get on, then keep watching the channel. Now this might surprise one or two of you with this next suggestion, but it's something that you can plant now in September to get a crop of peas. So these are Monge 2. These are a variety called Oregon Sugar Pod, and you'll have seen from previous videos that I grow these. Now you might not get the shoots to reach maturity, so you get the Monge 2, but the little shoots are really good in salads, so you can pick them and put them in salads, and they taste exactly like peas or Monge 2. So if you have got spare seeds, then plant them. And you can plant them directly outside, and then you can pick them when they're little shoots. I'm going to try growing turnips or sowing turnips in the next week or two in September. This is a variety called Purple Top Milan. So I'm going to start them off in the polyhouse and then transplant one or two of them in the ground in the polyhouse and see how they get on. And again, if you want to see how they get on, then just watch the channel and future videos and I'll give you a bit of an update. If you want a regular supply of greens during the autumn and winter period, then you won't go far wrong in September in sowing Oriental greens. Now I've just recently took delivery of this pack of 5 Oriental greens, which I'm going to try planting in the polyhouse first, and then where I can outside. The brilliant thing about these types of crops is that they tolerate cooler temperatures, so they won't mind a bit of colder, frosty weather in most situations. So the first one is something called Mazuma, which the variety is called Wado. Now this is like a mustard type of leaf, so again perfect for adding to all sorts of varieties of salads, stir fries and other recipes that you might use. Next I've got Chinese cabbage, variety called Kiseki F1. And then I have another variety of spinach. Now I've already spoken about spinach in the video previously, but this type of spinach is Japanese Hohei F1, is a baby spinach, so it's good for picking the leaves again for these salads and stir fries over the winter period. Then I have 2 varieties of pak choi, Yusho F1 and Blizzard F1. And pak choi, when you plant it, it will germinate in 14 to 21 days. And you can start harvesting these varieties in roughly 50 to 55 days. Of course you can leave them longer if you want bigger plants. So Oriental greens are a perfect thing to plant in September. Hopefully that's given you 1 or 2 ideas about things that you might think about sowing in September, but that's what I'm doing. But there are lots of other things that you could potentially sow in September, so if you are doing different sowings, then please put them in the comments below so everybody else can see them. Maybe give us all 1 or 2 ideas. I mean, some people suggest that you can start growing things like garlic in September. I usually wait a little bit longer till the end of November, sorry, till the end of October, November, when it's a little bit colder, but some varieties do allow you to start to sow them particularly towards the end of September. So hopefully that's given you something to think about. So there's plenty of things that you can sow in September ready to help you have a later harvest. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video, and if you have, then don't forget to give it the thumbs up. And if you do like the video and you want to see future videos on how to sow and grow fruit and veg and 1 or 2 recipe ideas, then don't forget to press the subscribe button. I'll see you all in the next video.